Welcome to Systems Philosophy. This is an extra episode outside of my normal themed sequence that I'm building. A personal reflection on my journey so far. I've produced 16 episodes, having never produced any sort of public consumption video content before, and only rarely making videos for my own use. It's been a learning journey. These videos are all produced unscripted. I do think about the topic that I'm going to present and have a rough mental outline of how I want to present it. Other than that, it's all ad lib, which is why there are many pauses and thoughtful periods while I think about how I want to present what I'm presenting. This episode is being filmed after 16 sequenced episodes which build on foundational concepts of systems philosophy as I understand it. I think to myself sometimes that perhaps I should be moving quicker, getting to more topical and interesting things to talk about, current events, artificial intelligence, latest computing technology, things that interest me and things that I follow. On balance, this initial sequence is important because it generates foundations and concepts that will be important to be understood later when I get into the more complex analysis. The sequence of the episodes has roughly followed the sequence of development of life on Earth because I'm working from physical biological systems through ecological systems and into thinking systems. The underlying theme, which is why I called this channel Systems Philosophy, is a systems thinking, information systems, cybernetics perspective that I bring after a career where I spent most of my time doing various aspects of information systems work. The current format, including trying to pick nice settings from which to film and also not putting too much work into scripting and perfecting the output, is aligned with my general philosophy, which is more like a conversation, even though this conversation is me and the video camera and you out there, my virtual audience, and not something scripted where I'm delivering pre-planned content other than perhaps following the theme and sequence as I have already stated. I'm learning. I rewatch every episode or every take after I film it, and I can tell you there is always things that I tell myself can be improved, could have been said differently, could have been added, things that I've perhaps been slightly mistaken about or not presented clearly enough. That's part of my personal journey. I expect to improve through practice and repetition, much like any system that I'm describing improves as it goes through various iteration cycles. The very process of this philosophy is the same process that describes me and reality itself in terms of my own personal perspective. That is part of what I wish to share and part of why I've spent so much time on topics that might seem less interesting. Hopefully, some of you will be stimulated, interested by a particular episode. I've also already found in the couple of weeks I've been producing and publishing that there are a few episodes, and one in particular that seems to be getting more views than the rest. My subscriber number is also growing slowly but steadily, and initially I didn't know if anyone would be interested. So thank you to those early subscribers. I hope you found something that provides you with mental stimulation and food for thought. I don't generally read comments, not yet. My first series, this sequenced episode number that I may or may not continue with the number series, is designed primarily to build from basic concepts and follow the evolution of life to the complexity that ultimately led to us and our ability to think, and the technology and societies we have built. As I approach our present time through this sequence, I will also get into more nuanced philosophical topics. So far, I have tried to use the theme of reflexive interaction between the system and equilibrium, other systems at level, systems that's nested within, systems that nest within it, and the greater physical world and environment as a theme. I have touched upon information systems theory and cybernetics. These first episodes have used primarily biological examples, things that aren't too specific that most of us can understand. Systems thinking and cybernetics still underpins it, even though each episode might seem to be unrelated, and the title might have something like, I can't even remember all the titles I've chosen, culture, for instance. The culture is in the concept of evolution, systems dynamics, and also how it makes more capable biocomputers, brains. There is an underlying theme and progression to what I'm producing. I internally consider my pacing, and perhaps for some of you my pacing is much too slow. You're waiting to get to the more interesting content and perhaps find the biological stuff I'm using distracting. I do have a purpose. One of the purposes is trying to build paradigms and perspectives. For instance, taking culture way back into the biological tree before humans and even before the higher primates. For those of you who will watch my early episodes, hopefully you will be rewarded with a deeper perspective of the philosophy that I am describing and building upon. I will continue to try and make each episode so it can be watched largely standalone, or at least provide introductory reminders of new concepts that I introduce. but the richest understanding will be gained from watching the episodes in sequence. I admit that my learning curve might mean that there are many ways to improve my presentation, and perhaps once I've finished this numbered sequence that starts from the beginnings of life and the beginning concepts, and will hopefully bring us up to the here and now and speculations on where the future will go, I might then begin to publish more standalone episodes that aren't necessarily part of the sequence, perhaps small series that follow certain themes, and ultimately I might redo this sequence I'm currently doing. But that is months, possibly a year or more down the track, depending on how this project of mine develops and evolves. I think that's pretty much it for now. I just wanted to produce an out of sequence self-reflection episode. My initial desire to not spend too much time in pre and post production has been, at least for myself, and perhaps once I have a larger audience I'll see what you think. For myself it is working. I'm improving in my technical skills in terms of video production. I'm improving in my presentation style and ability, and I like the general feel of each episode. I might put some more work into choosing more interesting locations. At the moment I'm just using different positioning, often within the same location, so that the framing varies, and that is part of my underlying theme. Today's location is in St Helens, a small township in northeast Tasmania on the east coast, and it's a small town that relies on tourism, fishing and agriculture. A lot of the sites that I've had have been on or near the coast, including lagoons, and a lot of the timing of my episodes is at or around dawn. I find the light there beautiful, and I myself have only woken up and I have my clearest thoughts and most energy in the morning. Some of my episodes have been and will continue to be at other times of day, and I expect that the format will slowly evolve and change as I find my own pattern and sequence. That's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you got something out of this.